Good afternoon. So today I'm in Chesterbrook, which is a suburb of Philadelphia. So I want to talk about 401k and IRAs. The question is, if you're returning to India, what do you do with them? So I'm in this situation myself. So I did some research, and I wanted to share this information with you. So before starting, I want to be very clear that your situation is every situation is unique. So you have to talk to a tax advisor. Or an accountant or even a lawyer before you do anything. So what is 401k? 401k is an employee retirement program that is very popular in the United States. Typically, you are able to contribute a certain percentage of your salary or a certain amount tax deferred. That is the traditional 401k. And you can withdraw it ideally after 59 and a half years old. If you withdraw this money before 59 and a half years old, you will incur a 10% penalty on top of whatever tax bracket you are in at that point. So that's important to keep in mind. So there is also a Roth 401k, which is very rare. I've never worked in a company that offered a Roth 401k, which would be another 401k, but this time it is something you contribute after taxes. So what happens there is when you withdraw the money when you're 59 and a half years old, you don't pay any taxes because you already paid the taxes before contributing to that account. Typically, employees will match your 401k. Back in the day, it used to be 1:1 matching. So if you contribute $1, they will match $1, but that's rarely the case. These days, like I recently worked for a company where they have a 401k program, but they don't match anything. It is like literally a few pennies to the dollar. But still, it's worth doing it because it's tax deferred savings. If some company does do the matching, typically they will have some vesting period. It might be like a couple of years or 5 years, and you will be able to get access to the employee contribution only after the vesting period is over. So that is something you have to know also. So what is right now the 401k limit, I believe, is about 25,500 per year, and if you are over 50, it's another $7,500 per year. So that's the total amount you can contribute to your 401k every year. Then there is something called IRAs. IRAs are individual retirement accounts that you create, and then you contribute a certain amount every year. I believe in 2025 it's about $7,500 per year, and if you are over 50, I believe it's $8,600 per year. So what's the difference between 401k and IRA? In 401k, you are stuck with the plan your company has and the funds and things that they have. Whereas if you create your own IRA, you can go to any company that provides these services, open an account, and you can pick any of the mutual funds or stocks or bonds that they have. So that's a difference between the two. In many cases, when you are consulting like I do, you are constantly moving from one company to another. So it's very difficult to manage the 401ks. So I typically prefer having a IRA and contributing every year rather than using a 401k. But let's say you have a 401k with a company and then you quit the company and you go to another company, you can always roll over your 401k to your IRA account without any penalties. So that is something you can do as well. So what is, so let's say you decided to go back to India, what do you do with your 401k and IRAs? So the one thing that to keep in mind is sometimes when you quit a company, the company will say that they will close your 401k account in a certain period of time. So you don't really have a choice at that point. You have to roll over your 401k to an IRA. So that's something to keep in mind. But another thing also to keep in mind is that some companies do not like a foreign address. So if you call them and tell them, hey, I'm going to go to India and I will no longer have a valid US address, then that might be an issue for them. So in that case, what you should do is call up a few other brokerages, a few other companies, and talk to them about your situation and see if they are okay with you having a 401k or an IRA in the US, but also have a foreign address as your contact address. So some companies are okay with it, but others might not. But so you have to do your own research before you do that. So let's say you did that and you finally have decided to go back to India. You are back in India. What should be your strategy? Ideally the strategy, I think, should be to leave your 401k or your IRA as is, and then start withdrawing certain amounts periodically after you turn 59 and a half years old. So you don't have that 10% tax. That is one option. Second option is, convert your 401k to an IRA and then withdraw money from the IRA after you're 59 and a half years old. So that's another option. But the third option is to cash it. So what happens when you try to cash it and you're overseas is that your tax, the company immediately will withhold 30% tax. And if you do it before you're 59 and a half, they will on top of that also give you the 10% penalty. So in that case, what you have to do is before you do anything, you have to inform the company, the brokerage company, that there is a double taxation agreement between the United States and India, and you have to fill out the certain forms and make sure the company is aware of it before you start withdrawing this money, cashing out this money. But cashing out the money completely is something that you should do as a last resort. I think the most ideal way is wait till you're 59 and a half years old and then withdraw the money periodically. Because once you reach that point and you start withdrawing the money periodically, according to the double taxation agreement, the US will not tax that amount. That amount that is disbursed will be taxed at the rate of your tax liability in India. So that is something that is good. So there is something else that you have to keep in mind. I just want to make sure I mention that very clearly. It's called RNOR, resident but not ordinarily resident. It is something that the government of India has for people who are coming back to India after living overseas. It's somewhat like a tax break. So for a certain period of time, and you have to talk to your accountant in India about this, the government of India will not tax your money that you are taking from your retirement account in the US to India. Let's say you're periodically withdrawing $1,000 a month. That won't be taxable in India for a certain period of time. So what you can do as a strategy is withdraw more periodically per month during this exemption period, the 2 or 3 year period. And then once the period expires and your benefits are going to be taxed in India, you can reduce your monthly disbursement. So that's something to think about. So that is there is one more thing I want to mention about if you did all this and the government of yours did tax you for whatever reason, then you can, there's something called foreign tax credit, FTC, that India has. You can show the paperwork to Indian authorities and say you already paid your this amount was deducted from you that was not supposed to be deducted, and you will get it as a tax credit in India. So hopefully that doesn't happen. I think that typically, I've never heard of somebody I've never heard of someone with this problem, but it could happen, I believe, if you do not inform your brokerage company in the US about the double taxation agreement. They might not know this, and they will just tax it and then send you the remaining sum as a payment. So those are the things I want to talk to you about. If there is anybody watching this video who has gone through this, I want to like hear more about your personal experience, because this is something I'm doing, and there is a lot of contradictory information, confusing information about this online. I'm trying to like reach out to a tax consultant in India who is very familiar with this to like talk to them as well. So if I do find a good consultant, I will post their information in the pin comment also. But meanwhile, I do want to get your thoughts on this. All right, so that's all for today, and until next time, bye.